Trying to communicate without strategy at work is terrible for your KPIs, team, and stakeholders. So I want to talk with you today about why you need to incorporate charismatic leadership tactics into your skill set, especially if you're a CEO, founder, or emerging leader. Charismatic leadership is the outcome of intentional behaviors, not your identity at the outset. And today we'll look at 5 charismatic leadership tactics that you can add to your interactions with your team starting from now. So, if you think you're the least charismatic person in the room, keep watching because we need to talk about amplifying charisma with concrete communication tactics. And for the extroverted person who sees themselves as highly charismatic, wait a second because I'm sure you'll also pick up some influential and fresh ideas. My name is Sarah Geiger, Executive Communication Consultant based currently in Europe, and I run Sarah Geiger International, a company that is based on improving your communication with science-backed tactics. We have loads of resources over on my website, so make sure you check that out at the end of the video. Okay, let's get into today's topic. Good leaders never neglect the chance to nourish their conversations so that their messages are clear and inspirational to each person they interact with, because they understand their responsibility to harness trust and build the dream for their team, clients, or investors. This brings us to the very first tip. Charismatic leaders know that they must polish each interaction and prepare mindfully with concrete strategies for all conversations. Here's how you can do that. Take some time in your schedule to evaluate the conversations you need to have. Map out what each team member needs and prepare your interaction with detail and mindfully. You can think about incorporating social intelligence strategies to build empathy and rapport, and this is an area that I spend a lot of time training my clients in because I know you can get fantastic outcomes if you focus on rapport, building motivation, and using purpose. So invest time in developing research-informed approaches in this area. You also might like to check out this blog post, which will give you a 3-stage strategic plan for communication so that you speak more confidently and with impact in meetings in order to inspire your team more effectively. Okay, let's get into our next tip. Tip number 2 is the idea that charismatic leaders humbly recognize that their communication is the most significant risk on the table. In my work as an executive communication consultant, I meet many visionary and disruptive founders who are incredibly successful and, of course, influential. From the outside, it would be easy for you to conclude that such leaders or founders have mastered leadership communication. But here's the critical factor. Good leaders and founders know that interaction outcomes with clients, stakeholders, and teams can be volatile and realize that a poorly played interaction maneuver can sever the dream, disengage an entire group, or even flunk what was meant to be a powerful pitch for investor funding. And that's why humble leaders invest ongoing time and work to study charisma tactics. Now, you might think this is all about showmanship. Typically, we connect charisma to performers and entertainers, which can lead to misconceptions about what constitutes charismatic leadership. So first, let's consider what charisma does across an organization or your business. When a leader presents their message with high charisma scores, their listeners feel more confident, intelligent, and capable. So building up your charismatic leadership skills is one of the best investments to increase your conversation partner's confidence. If your communication can make your team feel more competent, you'll see an increase in KPIs and well-being at work. And likewise, if you set your clients or customers at ease with your communication using charisma tactics, you'll see more engagement with your products and services because charisma fast-tracks genuine and meaningful relationships and will always benefit your customers' experience with your brand, products, and services. Also, it's good to consider that if communication has the power to make your investors feel more confident, they're more likely to back your innovations. So, how does it work? How do charismatic leaders and entrepreneurs make the people around them feel more confident in their vision, drivers, and goals? Let's get into the next strategy. Charismatic leaders work on their communication development to better others, not themselves. If you want to be a charismatic leader, take the focus off personal branding and emphasize personal growth goals that benefit your conversation partners. And there are many areas of personal development waiting for you. Speaking articulately is not all it takes. Focus instead on the interaction skills you need to develop how you interact with the critical mass of people around you. Leaders inspire people to take action, and the only way they can do that is through their communication. Are you on the hunt for high-level professional communication skills? My high-performance communication audit gives razor-sharp insight into your communication so that you can strategically align your soft skills to bolster career success. If you've been looking for the entire roadmap to communication success at work, make sure you check out the audit, which I've linked in the comments section below. Let's get into tip number 4. Charismatic leaders learned that lone wolf leadership can only go so far. Working as a founder to build out your company or heading up a large team as a CEO compounds the schedule, and there comes the point where the temptation can arise to adopt a lone wolf leadership style. But take care. While downtime and isolation away from your team, business, or clients are needed for refreshment, stepping away from your team can also bring a risk of misalignment. When your schedule compresses you and your workflow crunches you as a leader, it's really normal to want to distance yourself from the interpersonal pressures and energy needed to interact with your core crew and clients. Of course, you can set boundaries and take sabbaticals and even work remote for extensive periods, but only if you're strategic. Don't lone wolf it without a systematic method that creates connection. And if you're in a different time zone, you might like to consider investing in social intelligence training to build rapport while absent from the office and your team. If I were to tell you that charismatic leaders garner more trust, increase the bottom line, keep their team productive, and inspire their clients and investors to take action, take note that isolation removes you from the pack and will not serve you well unless if you use time-based methods to infuse connection, even while absent physically. Sure, if you're a solopreneur, you might think this message doesn't count you in, but still recall, if your goal is to stimulate market demand from your business, the only way you can do that is by inspiring your clients, animating them to take action, and to engage with you in a meaningful, life-changing customer experience that fuels not only your business vision, but ultimately the greater good. Because after all, we're here for the greater good, and it's not just about the bottom line. Okay, let's get into tip number 5. Charismatic leaders know that leadership is a vital requirement for transforming organizations and disrupting change for the greater good. We're dealing with human lives, and our capacity to interact and inspire is a gift given to us daily. So working on charisma to increase your communication skills, even in a micro cottage business, could be the critical factor that gets you to understand what your clients ask from you, builds your competitive advantage, and results in powerful innovations that finally solve your customers' problems. And your communication skills, as always, are usually the best predictors of these positive outcomes. Likewise, if you're a big player in the entrepreneurial space, you'll also want to fast-track strategies to impeccable interaction experiences each time you attend a meeting, take a rushed phone call, or meet with a new business venture partner. Why? Because I think you know too well that time is inestimable. The clock never ticks backwards, unfortunately. Time once lost is just that, lost. In a pressure cooker schedule, each minute must be accounted for to hold the most relationship value. And I think you'd be surprised to know how much more worth you can infuse in your relationships if you learn charismatic communication hacks for busy leaders. Charismatic communication is the wormhole to a brighter future for your career and business relationships. It will guide you to better prospects faster than the rest. Do you want to learn more about charismatic communication? An excellent place to start is my free masterclass, How to Look, Sound, and Feel More Confident at Work. In my masterclass, I'll help you to discover the hidden tricks that no one is talking about, which fast-track speaking confidence, credibility, and rapport, as well as leadership competence. This class is a priority watch for you if you feel like your personality sometimes holds you back from speaking confidently at work. You'll also want to watch this one if you don't know exactly what your communication at work needs, but you know it needs to change fast. It's also for you if you can't pin what it is exactly that's preventing you from securing a promotion or obtaining leadership opportunities, and if you've got that feeling that you need to increase your executive presence. I'll share lots of voice tone tips about how to communicate without hesitations and a nervous sound. And I think you'll really enjoy this masterclass if you admire charismatic communicators and wish you could engage and inspire in the way that they do. So if you want to take your leadership communication further to increase your professional speaking polish, you should seriously consider attending this bonus masterclass. I've left a link to all the details over on my website, so be sure to check it out. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If so, don't forget to subscribe and click like. Hopefully you found the topic helpful. Do you have any questions? If so, use the comments section below. I read every comment and can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and ciao for now.